All right. How is everyone? All right. So, by a show of hands, raise your hand if you have not had me in class before. I was going to say there's a few people that I don't recognize the name. So, excellent. My name is Mr. Uminski. I am the director for the hotel and the hospitality management programs. So, I oversee those management programs over here at St. Philip's. I am a student or a graduate of the program. I'll show you that in just a moment. Um, Best way to get a hold of me is through email. Okay. So, my email will be on Canvas as well as my phone number. But honestly, email is the best way to get a hold of me. If you have not heard from me within 48 hours, please just send me a nice little gentle nudge email and just say, hey, did you see my email from a couple of days ago? Okay. I'm getting back. I was at a conference last week in Houston. And so today's my second day back. And I have over 600 unread messages in my inbox right now. And I haven't even gotten through Monday of last week yet. So the emails build up and sometimes things get lost. So it's not intentional. Um, but I try to keep up with that. All right, so a little bit about me. For those of you who don't know, I actually went to St. Philip's College. Started out as a culinary arts major. I chopped the tip of my thumb off when I was dicing an onion, and decided that me and sharp objects were not going to get along. So I wanted to switch to the front of the house. Um, and so from the front of the house, I went to work in restaurants. I worked at TGI Fridays as a server. I opened the Cheesecake Factory at North Star Mall as a server 25 years ago, almost 25 years ago. And then I decided to do some other stuff. I went to work for the Boy Scouts in New Mexico, and then finally decided I needed to get my life back together. And so I came back to school, finished my degree in hotel management. So I switched from culinary to hotel and didn't lose a single credit because all the credits just transferred right over. That's, if you'll notice, we've designed our programs in that way that the first semester of all five programs are pretty much the same. So if you get into it and you're like, whoa, this is not for me, maybe just what that program is needs you want to like do the opposite or you want to do something different in hospitality. There is a job for everyone in hospitality, I'm convinced. Then when I came back, also, they had created a hospitality event management degree, which we no longer offer. But right now it's called the hospitality management degree, just in general. But back then it was specific to event management. Went on to Texas A&M University, San Antonio. And then from there, once I came back to teach, I was really encouraged to get my master's degree from University of Texas. And then currently I'm working on my doctorate degree from the Grand Canyon University in Phoenix. And I hope to, fingers crossed, graduate in December 2026. Um, Little fun fact, I have been growing my beard for almost 2.5 years. So while I've been in school, and the day they call me and tell me that I am officially a doctor, that's going away. So if you come back to visit and I have no beard or it's much shorter, that's your cue. All right, so my industry experience. One of the things that you'll hear a lot in this class, I will refer to my time in Maine. So I used to work for a summer camp in Maine for 7 summers. I prepared breakfast and dinner for 50 to 60 people a day. I had to plan my menus, I had to order my food, then I also had to prepare the food and serve the food. So working within the budget. So you'll hear a lot of my examples of preparation and things like that will come from that job that I had in Maine. I also worked at La Quinta Inn and Suites downtown. So I worked as a front desk agent, worked in housekeeping, worked at the Sheraton Gunther Hotel, which is now just the Gunther Hotel. If you haven't had a chance to go in and see the Gunther Hotel, they just went through a $59 million renovation. It is absolutely stunning. It's also where the Paris Baguette just opened up downtown. So I have some connections down there. So if you're looking for a job, any baking and pastry majors want to get a job at the bakery, the Paris Baguette Bakery down there, they do amazing, amazing work. As a student, I did my internship at Rio Cibolo Ranch, where I did for event planning. Stayed there for 4 years. I worked primarily planning parties anywhere from 20 people and up to 2,000 people. And then I went to work for a company called Adventures in San Antonio for about a year. Went back to the corporate side, planned really fun parties for people that were coming to visit San Antonio for work. Um, I put on the Alamo Area Hospitality Association as one of my work experiences, although it was more volunteer focused. I was on the board of directors, so I was a student in 2008 and received the Alamo Area Hospitality Association scholarship. And then in 2014, I was the president of the organization, giving the scholarship back to St. Philip. So it's a very full circle organization for me. I also just finished. There was an opportunity for me to come back and volunteer again, and so I was president in 2024 as well. I apologize. I should have prefaced. Over Christmas break, I went to Vegas for Christmas and came back with the flu. I got over the flu, and then 2 days later, I got the other flu. So flu A and flu B. So I'm all protected from the flu. But I feel 100% my voice does not match that. So this is not my normal voice for those of y'all who've not had me in class before. All right. So let's do some class introductions. This should go pretty quick because there's only 12 of us. I am going to go ahead and pause the recording. For those of you who have not had me in class before, I do live record all of my lectures. We still help each other out. So school here, especially in your hospitality and culinary and baking focused classes, this is where you start building those networks and that professional network and relationships that people can call on other people, especially if like you're culinary and somebody needs to have a cake baked and maybe you're not the greatest at cake, but you know somebody who is a pastry student that went to school with you, you can make that connection. Okay, so this is your opportunity now to start building your network. All right. So the best way to navigate this course is to get onto Canvas and go by the modules. Okay. Um, everything that you need is in the modules. And so just go ahead and when you have a moment, go ahead and log into that. I need to update the calendar because like I said, I got my classes mixed up. So you actually have a different calendar in your module right now. I'm passing these out, so I will update this. I will also get your class, like all the due dates uploaded and updated in Canvas by this weekend. So that way you can see, kind of plan what's coming up in this particular class, okay? So a couple of things I want to point out on our course calendar. One is that on Monday next week, we will not have class. Okay, it's independent study. Next week on Monday is the only conference that I am going to this semester. It just happens to be the second week of the semester. So I won't be going out of town or doing anything right now that I know of for the rest of the semester. But Monday, class will not meet, but it would be a good idea for you to go ahead and watch those videos and get familiar with the information before you come into class for Wednesday. All right. So our class is Mondays and Wednesdays, 2 p.m. to 3:15 p.m. Okay. The district has a policy for your attendance that you can miss up to 2 weeks worth of classes. So if we meet 2 times a week, for 2 weeks, that's 4 class periods. Okay. After your fourth class period, we're probably going to have a conversation about either dropping the class or what it's going to take to get caught up. Okay. Um, but I am not going to automatically drop you after the fourth class missed. Okay. You all are adults. You can manage that. If you know that you haven't been here for 6 weeks or 6 class periods, then you can come talk to me. Okay. Come find me and come talk to me in my office. Pull me before class or after class. On Wednesdays, Mondays and Wednesdays, this is my first class of the day. So I'm here from 8 a.m. until our class. And then on Wednesdays, I stay until 6:45 for my evening class. Okay. I like to keep my classes together. Okay. So whatever I do on Monday with you all, I do on Tuesday with my other class. Whatever, and I also do that for the first half of Wednesday night class. Okay. Whatever I do on Wednesday with you, I do on Thursday with my other class. And that's the second half, the 8 to 9:15 or 9:30 of my evening class. Okay. Why do I tell you that? Because if you know you're going to be absent on Monday, then you can just come on Tuesday if you have availability. And then you can make up that absence right then and there. Because whatever we cover on Monday is what we cover on Tuesday. Okay. And then same thing for Wednesday and Thursday. Any questions? All right. So you guys want some good news? All right. So this class, RSTO 2301, is the only class in our department that is approved to be taught in a high flex format. Okay. High flex is different than hybrid, right? Hybrid, you use like maybe you meet on one day and then the other day is remote online work. That's hybrid. High flex means that you still have to log in at 2 o'clock at our normal class time, but it does mean that you don't have to be here in class. You get to choose where you take the class. Okay. You still have to log in from 2 o'clock to 3:15, like during a normal class time. Okay. And that you'll see on Canvas. Let me show you. So when you log into Canvas, here on the home page, this is where you can log into the Zoom. Now, I don't advertise that until the first day of class because otherwise, I want to make sure everybody comes in on that first day of class. Okay. And then from this point forward, you can, if you would like to, log in on Zoom and I'll take your attendance that way. Okay. Just be aware though that if cameras are always off and there's not a lot of interaction, if I'm asking questions and then there's not a lot of interaction in the chat, or if you're not asking questions in the chat, then I'm probably going to say, you know what, we're all going to come back to in person. Okay. So I need to still have that engagement. It's not an excuse to just turn on Zoom and then go do something else. Okay. I still need to have that engagement. But this is where you'll access that Zoom link to log into log into Zoom. Okay. This is where the link that you can use to log into my office hours.
This
So
meeting is being. Sorry.
so if you look in the modules, okay, the very first module is my office hours. So on Wednesday, I'm in my office from 3:30 to 5:30, waiting for you to come talk to me, ask questions. If you need help with homework, if you need help with another class homework, I can try to help you. Okay, and maybe I may not be the subject matter expert, or maybe I don't teach that class, but I might have some insight because I've been around here for about 11 years. The other thing too, if you need help with your schedule, if you need help with knowing what classes to take next semester, come talk to me during my office hours. Okay, that's when we're literally just in our office, waiting for students to come talk to us. All of your professors are going to have a document that looks like this right outside their office door. Okay, let me help you read this document. This middle column is when we are in class. So that's where you see Wednesday from 2 to 3:15. That's when we're in class. So we're obviously not going to be at our office because we're going to be in class. Our office hours, these are posted office hours. These are when we are going to be there. You'll notice on mine, I actually have my Zoom link QR code. So if I'm not in my office and I should be during this time, I may be on Zoom. And so you can just scan the QR code and log into Zoom for my office hours. Okay. Beyond that, these are the hours that I'm here at work, usually. Okay. And so if it's during this time frame, or like let's say it's 5 o'clock on Monday, well, I'm not going to be here at 5 o'clock on Mondays. I'm already gone by 4. Okay, so that gives you an idea of how you can read your professor schedules if you're looking for them. All of our offices are right over here on the third floor if you're looking for your office, your professor. Okay, any questions about the schedule? All right, let's see. Is there anything else I wanted to do with Canvas? I don't think there was. All right. So you'll just go through the orientation module, um, and then take a look at module one in preparation for next week. Okay, next week on Wednesday, a week from today. All right, let's jump back into our presentation. All right, so let's talk about decorum. Actually, that's on the next slide. No, just kidding. Decorum was on this slide. I know that in the culinary side, in the back of the house, language is probably more colorful than the front of the house. And so in the front of the house with the management side, we try to have a little bit more professional language, less foul language. And so please just keep that in mind. We are in a professional setting, so keep your language professional as well. Also, the attire, I don't care necessarily. I mean, obviously, you want to be presentable because you're in public. But if you're in your chef coat, if you're in your chef uniform, just like Eduardo is, and just like Kenneth is, thank you so much. Having your chef coat buttoned all the way to the top. Okay, we in the department want to have a standard of high professionalism. And so walking around in your black chef pants or your checkered chef pants and a white t-shirt is not an image of professionalism. So it's either all or nothing. Okay. You don't have to wear your hat, obviously, because we're not in a lab, but it's either your jacket and your pants or change completely out of your uniform. Okay. Yes. All right. So, on your assignments, how many of you have a professor or a teacher who has assignments due at 11:59 p.m.? Okay. So something I learned when I was in math in my master's program in grad school. Sometimes I learned that because of work and because of everything else, I had to do my homework at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's just the only time I had to do my homework. Okay. Well, if your due date is 11:59 p.m., then working at 2 o'clock in the morning means what? My work is already late. Okay. I can guarantee you that I am not up at 11:59 p.m. waiting to grade your papers. Okay. So my solution is the first day that we meet, which is Monday, is like the new start of our new work week or our new class week. And so 8 a.m. Monday morning is when all your assignments are generally going to be due. Okay, there are a couple of exceptions, but generally it's 8 a.m. Monday morning. Okay. Um, please watch the videos that before we come to class. There are videos when you look in Canvas, anytime that it says a chapter and a lesson, like chapter one, chapter one, lesson two, those are pre-recorded videos meant for you to watch those. They do follow along the textbook. So if you're like me and you hate to read textbooks, you can just watch the videos in preparation for class. Okay. You'll still have your textbook as a reference tool to go back and to check it if you need to, but you can just watch those videos in preparation of coming to class. Okay. The other thing I want to mention here is we have in-class discussion notes. So you'll see this document under each chapter. Okay. This in-class discussion notes, these are basically notes that you can fill out as you go along through the lecture. You might get some information from watching the videos too, but we will cover it in class. If you fill out the discussion notes completely, take a picture or scan them and upload them to this document or this homework assignment right here, extra credit. Every chapter that you submit, I will give you 0.25, a quarter of a point on your final average at the end of the semester. Okay? We have 10 chapters. So what does that mean? If you did all 10 chapters, how many points could you get on the final average? 2.5. So if you have an 88 and you've done all 10 chapters, I'm going to bump you up to an A. Okay? This is the only extra credit that I give in this class. So don't come to me during week 12 and 13 and 14 and ask me what extra credit you can do to bring your grade up. This is the only extra credit that I give in this class. Okay?
And what is it's taking notes?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's exactly what you should already be doing. So, in my experience, the people who turn these in don't usually need the extra credit. Okay? So, you should be doing this anyways. So, why not get the extra credit for doing it? All right? All right, all right. All right, so how would you fill in the blank? Show me with your fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. How would you feel about, or how would you fill in this blank? 4, 3, 2, 2, 2, 3s, 3, 4, 4, 2. I guess there is no 5, just kidding.
Yeah, no.
All right. Now, how about this one? Okay. Cool. Belle thinks she's going to love math at the end of this class. Okay. I don't know if anybody can love math as much as I do because I absolutely love. If I wasn't going to be a teacher, I was thinking about going to, before I went back to school to finish hotel, I was actually going to go back to school to be a high school math teacher. I just love math that much because there's always an answer. Even if the answer is there is no answer, there's always an answer in math. You can always follow something. Okay. So, what did you notice about the difference between these options and this option?
There's one less.
There is one less. What's that?
Question.
It's not that loaded.
There is no option for negative.
Exactly. There is no option for negative reaction to math. Okay. If you say, I hate math and I'm not good at math, then guess what? You're not going to be good at math. But if you say, I can try, okay, or I can at least appreciate how I'm going to use math. For me personally, if I cannot connect it to my daily life, then those concepts do not stick in my head. I got a D in biology in college, in my college biology class. And I'm pretty sure my professor gave me that D. I did not earn a D. I probably had about a 40 average in that class. I was a wedding planner. There's no way I could connect biology to being a wedding planner. I told my professor, I was like, hey, if I have a bride and she's a scientist and she's like, I want my centerpieces to look like mitochondria, I can do that because I know what that looks like. Or if she wants her centerpieces to bubble all night long, I know how much potatoes and hydrogen peroxide to put in to make the bubbles all night long. Beyond that, I can't do it.
Say potatoes?
Yeah, so if you put potatoes in hydrogen peroxide, like it creates bubbles.
What the hell?
I don't know. That's 15 years ago, so I don't. But the whole point is,
Oh, sorry
for me personally, if I can't attach it to what I'm doing in my daily life, then it's going to be really hard for me to grasp those concepts. So I'm hoping that as we go through, we are adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. That's all we're doing. We're doing basic math functions, okay? But we are applying it to things that you do. You're gonna be working with ingredients. You're gonna be making recipes. You're gonna be scaling up. You're gonna be scaling down recipes. You're gonna be figuring out how much to charge for things, okay? That kind of math is really important. All right, let's just skip these for the interest of time. Who wants some money? Anybody want money? Okay, full disclosure, I am not giving away any money today. Okay. But I'm going to give you a story. I had a student he graduated in 2018. Okay. He did his internship, he did his practicum at Panda Express. He was an assistant general manager at Panda Express. Okay. Within 2 years, he was promoted to general manager of a store. And so he ran the whole store. And in 2021, when we were meeting remotely, I asked him if he would log in on Zoom and tell my students about his experience going from being a student to being a GM of a restaurant, a place, especially one like Panda Express that has a lot of recipes that have to be followed, a lot of policies and whatnot. He said his first year of being a general manager at Panda Express, he implemented concepts that were taught in this class, 2301, and he got a $10,000 bonus check at the end of the year because he was able to save on his costs using the concepts that we've taught in this class. So I may not be able to give you money today, but hopefully in the future you can take these things, whether it's your own business and you get a great paycheck, you get to pay yourself, or whether you're working for somebody else and they give you a bonus check because you're able to implement cost saving measures. Okay, so let's do some math. You can use the back of this if you would like to. If you want to open it up and use the back side if you want to, or if you have your own paper, you can use your own paper, your own notes, or if you have your laptop, that's fine. You can use your laptop, okay? Whatever note-taking method is good for you. I do have pencils up here, so if you need pencils, come on up. I do recommend that you use pencils for math instead of pens. All right. So normally I would like if we're gonna cover like next week on Wednesday, we're gonna cover chapters 1 and 2. So normally I'll stop the video and make a brand new one so you have to like sift through everything. I'm just gonna keep on plowing through for this first video, okay? So we are doing adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. That's all we're doing, okay? We're gonna work through a couple of these math problems, all right? And in doing so, I'm going to be introducing topics that we're going to be covering throughout the semester. Okay, so I do not expect you to know everything we're going to talk about today. I am just going to give you like a high level overview of concepts and how we're going to apply the math that we're doing. Okay, so what I would recommend is on your paper, fold it in, like it's already folded in half if you have, or a notes page, go ahead and like divide a line down the middle. On one side, you'll do this math problem, and then directly across from there, you're going to do another math problem. Okay, I'm going to show you how this works. So what is 36 divided by 4?
9.
9. Okay, on a scale of 1 is the easiest math you've ever done, and 5 is quantum physics. How easy was this math problem, 36 divided by 4? 1 to 5. 1 being the super easiest, and 5 being quantum physics.
2.
Okay, 1s and 2s. Good. All right. So we said 9.
And we write this on the left side?
Yep. Write this on the left side. 36 divided by 4 is 9. Okay. Now, this number 9, what does it mean? 9 what?
It means there's 9 groupings of 4.
There's 9 groupings of 4. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to apply that. So now, how many 4-ounce portions of salad will you get from 36 ounces of salad mix? Okay. So now what we call units, we have to put units on these numbers to give them life, to give them meaning of what they actually represent. Okay. So now if we do 36 ounces divided by 4-ounce portion. So this is what you're writing on the right-hand side of your paper directly across. So that way you can see how these numbers, how they line up. Okay. That is equal to 9 portions. Right? So we could see a bag of salad mix. And these are not 4-ounce portions of this whole 36 ounces. Okay? So hopefully, as we go through and do math, if you can associate, if you can visualize what those numbers actually mean, hopefully it will allow you to work through the process. Okay. And I love to teach math at a step by step by step process. Because I don't know what it is about the doors in this school, but as soon as you cross that door, you're going to forget everything we talked about. And then you're going to be like, Mr. Miss, I have no idea what I'm doing for my homework. Okay. So if you write it step by step by step, then hopefully when you go home, you'll be able to make those connections. All right. Ray, will you give me a 10-minute warning at 3:05?
I
So I
will.
can just keep that. Thank you. All right. 15 minus 3. 13 is the next one. 15 minus 13 is 2. 2 what? It's a great question. I'm glad you asked. If we yield 13 pounds from a 15-pound case of tomatoes, how much product did we lose in the prep? Okay, so how much product did we lose? We start with 15 pounds. We end with 13 pounds. And that means we lost 2 pounds. We lost 2 pounds in the prep. So we're making tomato concasse. We have to core the tomato. Make the little X in the bottom. We drop it in the simmering water. The tomato comes out. We just peel the skin off. Take the seeds out. Okay. All of that product weighs something, right? I paid for a whole tomato, but I'm only using a partial of a tomato. So I have to figure out how to cost that effectively so that I get to recoup my cost of all this product that I cut off and am not using. Okay. Same numbers, different math. Okay. What is 13 divided by 15? You can use a calculator if you want to. You have to do all these in your head. 0.86. Is that it?
Repeating.
Oh, repeating. Okay, cool. So 0.867. Sorry, let me back up just for 1 second. Like I said, don't stress too much about the terminology, the vocabulary, things like yielding 13 pounds. We're going to go over that in class, okay? This is just more about showing you how the math is going. Yes, sir.
So for decimals, only 1 to the 10,000.
So we're going to talk about that in just a second. Yeah, we'll talk about that we'll clarify that. So what is our percentage yield if 13 pounds of tomatoes remain from a 15-pound case, right? So we still have the same number. Now this is what I'd like you to write on your notes page somewhere. Percent is equal to the part over the whole. Part over the whole. That is the universal formula for percentage. Okay. The part is divided by the whole amount. Okay. And then we multiply by 100. Okay. So we multiply by 100. So let me show you what this looks like drawn out. So we have 13 pounds divided by 15 pounds, right? Because 15 pounds is the whole. That's what we started with. 13 pounds is the part, what was left over. You guys follow me so far? All right, so then we do that division. Our calculator says 8.66 repeating, okay? How many zeros are in 100? 2. 2. So that means when you multiply by 100, it magically moves this decimal over 2 places. Okay, now, if it makes you feel more comfortable to type in times 100 in your calculator, do it. If you can just mentally visualize moving that decimal over 2, that's fine too. Okay, I like to show you some shortcuts or some things to do to help you kind of move things along a little bit faster. But like I said, if you need to times 100, the calculator will then give you an answer of 86 point. Now, with percentages, We only need one decimal place with percentages. Okay, and so that's why I go to 4 numbers, because now I look at this number and I'm gonna round this up to 86.7%. Okay, so decimals only, or for percentages, only one decimal is needed. Okay, but you have to have one decimal, because 86.7 is a very different number than 87%. Okay, that 0.3, when we're talking about like a hamburger that cost me $3 to make and how much I'm going to sell it for, that 0.3 is not going to make a huge difference. But if I'm talking about $3 million in sales, that 0.3 is going to make a huge difference. Okay, so we always want at least one decimal in our percentages. That's why I do 4, so that way I can move my decimal place over 2 and then decide if I'm going to round up or not. Okay, if this 7 was a 4 or less, obviously we would just leave the number the way it was. Yes, you have a question? No? Okay. All right, so let's move on. Super simple one. 2,000 minus 1,500 is 500. Good. What is our profit if sales equals 2,000 and cost equals 1,500? So we'll go over this in class, but our formula for profit or loss is equal to sales minus expenses. Okay, sales minus expenses. And I say profit or loss because if the number is positive, it's a profit. If it's a negative, it's a loss. Okay, so that's how we can say whether it's profit or loss. We always have to do sales first. We'll talk about that in chapter 1. Okay, but in this case, we have $2,000 is our sales minus 1,500 in our expenses, and that is equal to $500. In this case, what is my unit?
USD,
What's that?
United States dollars.
Yes, the dollars. Okay, our unit is the dollar, whereas instead of like the previous one was pounds and ounces, right? So I don't have to write anything afterwards because this dollar sign is my unit. Okay, that tells you what that number represents. All right, 25 times 0.9. 25 times 0.9. What do we got?
2.5.
22.5, okay. 22.5. Let's see what this number represents. Now our expected yield is 90%. So before, remember we went with the tomatoes where we started with 15 and ended up with 13. Well, we want to figure out now how much are we going to end up with if potatoes have a 90% yield factor. Okay, so I take that 25 pounds, what do I start with? I'm going to multiply by 0.9. Okay, everyone take a look at this real quick. To go back, remember to go from a decimal to a percentage, you're going to move that decimal place over, right? To move it back, we move that decimal place back the opposite direction. We don't have to put the 0, but you can. Okay. If you want to type in 0.90 on your calculator, it's fine. But you don't have to. Just 0.9 is what we need to go for. Okay. And so that is going to equal 22.5 pounds. So if my recipe calls for 50 pounds of potatoes, can I just order two bags of potatoes, 2 bags of 25 pounds? No, because if I do, I'm going to trim some skin off. Maybe I'm making mashed potatoes. I'm going to peel the potato completely. That's going to be weight that I am not going to use. Okay, and so I might have to order 3 bags, maybe order that 75 pounds, and then use it up again in another recipe, right? But what if I'm making soup and I'm just chopping up the potatoes and keeping the skin on? Then I maybe have like a 98% yield factor. Because I'm maybe you're gonna have to probably trim off some bad spots, but you're not gonna have like 100%, right? But you might have more. If I'm making French fries and I'm just keeping the skin on and slicing them, I might have a higher yield than if I'm going to be peeling them. So what I'm trying to get at with this example is that sometimes it's our preparation, okay, that will determine what our yield factor is. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, this will be the last one that we do. And then I have a couple other things I want to go over. Okay, so 2.25 divided by 0.32. Christina, what'd you get?
Might have done it wrong.
So 2.25 divided by 0.32.
0.32. I'm sorry, I have my glasses
Yeah,
today.
0.32.
Oh, 7.0. Sorry.
Good, 7.03. So what?
Sir, I'm sorry, do we always include the ones behind, like, how it says 7.0? Do we always include that last number?
That's a very good question. I'll tell you
It
this.
throws me off so much.
This example, so again, this is where it comes into knowing your units and what you're actually looking at, what numbers you're looking at. So this will hopefully this one will answer that question for you. Okay. What price should we sell our entree if the cost equals 225? So it costs me 225 to make it, but I want to aim for a 32% food cost. Okay. So if it costs me $2.25 to make the food, divide it by that 0.3, remember? 0.32, we're going to move our decimal place over to, and it gets $7. So with our answer being money, do we have to include that 3?
Yeah.
Because it's money, right? Dollars and cents. So knowing what the number represents is going to tell you how many decimal places you need to have. Percentages is 1, and obviously dollars and cents is 2. We have to have that. How many of you have ever seen a menu item for $7.03?
A few places.
Okay, yeah. Is it pretty common?
Nah.
No. What might you see instead?
$7.
Well, we can't do $7.
$6.99.
Well, we don't want to do $6.99.
That's under, yeah.
Right? We can go up. We don't want to
Seven-
go down. If we go
05.
down, that means we're losing profit.
705.
We might say 705. We might say 725. We're going to talk about it in a later class.
That was
What if, thank you. What if this entree is like maybe like chicken fried steak? It's super cheap because it's only $2.25. Chicken fried chicken. Okay. What if it's only what if it's $2.25? You're making it, or sorry, you're spending $2.25 to make it, but your customers would pay more than $7. If you think your customers might pay $10, then you can get away with charging that. But if your customers are not going to pay that, you don't want to go below whatever is mathematically calculated. Okay. So what I want you, what's that? 705?
7.99.
$7.99. There you go. Yep. There's a whole psychology behind menu pricing. And I am that person that's like, oh, it's $7.99. That's only $7. That literally is 1 penny away from $8. But I just look at that first number.
How come gas is the only thing that gets to be 9/10 of a cent?
That's a good question. I don't know.
There's multiple things that can be.
All right, so this is something else for your notes that I want you to write, because this will be a quiz next week on Wednesday on this. Okay. So I want you to draw this triangle relatively big and divide it into segments just like this. Okay. Divide it into segments just like this. Next, this top section, I want you to write the word cost. Okay. One thing that I notice that happens with students is you have to shift your definition of the word cost. Okay. If I say this pencil cost me 50 cents, that means I spent 50 cents on this pencil, right? To buy it. When we're talking about cost, we're talking about the cost of the ingredients, not the cost of what we're selling to the customers, right? So you have to shift your mindset from being a customer when you hear the word cost to being the business owner, okay? Then on the bottom, we have percentage and we have sales. Okay? Sales and menu price are interchangeable. Okay? So sales and menu price, they're interchangeable in this bottom section. If we're talking about menu price, we're talking about one item, one order of chicken fried steak. Okay? If we're talking about sales, we're talking about all the chicken fried steaks that we sold. Okay? The total of all everything that we sold. Okay? And so sales and menu price are interchangeable in this bottom one. Okay? Next. I told you I like to use tools, I like to use shortcuts. Okay? What does this line look like? What kind of mathematical function does this line, this horizontal line look like? Division. So we're gonna do a division sign. Okay? So I'm gonna do it in red so it stands out. So a division sign, just like this. Okay? If you want to draw a little box around it, that's fine too, just so you can see how it separates from the line itself. Okay? What's the opposite of division?
Multiplication.
So this vertical line is multiplication. This vertical line is multiplication. So your triangle should look something similar to what you see. I flip it between triangle and pyramid. I know pyramid's a 3D object, but
You hear the food pyramid got inverted?
I got inverted. Yep, I did see that. All right, so how do you manipulate this to get your formulas? Okay. Let's look at our question. What price should we sell our entree for? So what are we looking for? We're looking for the sales menu price, right? So how you manipulate this is you cover up what you're looking for. You can just put your thumb or your finger over it so you can like use that triangle over and over again, right? Cover it up, and what's left over? Cost divided by percentage. And that's what we did here. $2.25 is our cost. We divided it by the percentage of 32%. And that's how we get our selling price of $7.03. Okay? What if I wanted to find percentage? If I cover up percentage, what's left over? Cost divided by sales. Okay? And if I want my cost is equal to percent times the sales. Does it matter which one goes where, percent or sales on the bottom? It's multiplication, it doesn't matter. But division does matter. So cost has to go on the top. So on day 2, which is Wednesday next week, I'm going to open up a quiz. When we come into class, it's going to be open for 15 minutes. The first 15 minutes of class, okay, you have a quiz. So that doesn't matter whether you're in class or whether you're on Zoom. You can take the same quiz. It'll be open for the first 15 minutes of class from 2 o'clock to 2:15 on Wednesday next week. So if you show up a little bit late, you're going to have a little bit less time to take the quiz, okay? This pyramid is going to be on that quiz. And it's going to ask you, what is the formula for cost? What is the formula for percentage? Okay. And so if you draw that pyramid, you'll know how to manipulate it to find those different formulas. Rather than trying to memorize 3 different formulas, okay, we just put it on here. So let me do it one example real quick. So if I do percent equals, so whatever is on this side of the equal sign, that's what I cover up. Percent equals the cost divided by the sales. What did I say the universal formula for percentage was?
Part divided by.
Part over the whole, right? This is what I sell it for. That's the whole. This is how much it cost me to make it. That's the part. Okay? So try to connect those things. There are 4 more questions that we're not going to have time for today, and that's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post an additional video that covers those last 4 questions. So if you want to watch them, you can. You don't have to. It's totally optional. Give me 1 second, Kenneth. Just I want to make sure I point this one thing out. So in Canvas, after the office hours module is going to be the live recorded lectures. So this is where I'm going to take the Zoom video, the Zoom recording, and this is where I'm going to post that YouTube link. Okay. All of my YouTube links are unlisted, which means you can't go to YouTube and search for the class. You can only access it with this link here. Okay. That's good. What's your question?
Are calculators prohibited or?
No, you can use calculators. And you can use your phone calculator too. How many of y'all took Math Bridge in a previous class? Probably took it in basic food prep, more than likely that Math Bridge class. Or if you were exempt because you took college algebra or whatever, right? So I got a message today that none of you have to take Math Bridge. So congratulations, you're good. But you are still in that MATH class. Okay, you'll still see that MATH class pop up on your Canvas. There's 2 reasons for that. The first reason is so that you can go to Math World and get tutoring. So if you have questions about tutoring, you can go to Math World. You have to be enrolled in a math class to go to Math World, to have access to Math World. So that's why you're in that Math Bridge. Okay. The other thing is I just found this out yesterday. I did not know. If you need a calculator, you can go to Math World and give your banner ID and you can check out a calculator for the semester. Yeah, I think they have graphing, but they also have scientific too. So, but we don't really need graphing calculators. But whatever calculator you want, if it's available, you can go and check that out for the semester. Okay, if you want to, if you don't want to go buy a new calculator, you can also use your phone. Okay, I'm not going to be that picky about where their calculator is coming from, so you can use your phone. All right. Any other questions, comments? Yes, sir.
The book online.
No, the book is a physical textbook, so you'll want to make sure you have that by next week on Wednesday. So make sure you order it through the bookstore. Okay.
Ooh,
How
much it costs?
it's free.
Oh,
You'll return it. You're basically renting it for
oh,
free.
so you just go to the bookstore and ask for it?
Look for the email and there'll be an email in your student email that you can order the textbook, and then they'll email you when it's ready.
Cool, thank you.
Yep. If you'll do me a favor and just leave your name tags on that back silver table. Okay. And then one last thing. I know I'm right at 15. One last thing. I saw some people get the water from there. That's awesome. That water is available. Just double check with me because sometimes I forget it there for a week. Sometimes it's a week old. It's only 1 day old, so you're totally fine. But sometimes it's like a week old. And so I'll tell you to not drink the water. I'll go to refill it. Okay. But just check with me before you do.
Thank you,
You're
sir.
welcome.
I saw this there. I might